We're live. Welcome to a live version of Locked on UConn. Been waiting for this game all day. UConn over USF, 86-49, shooting 67% from the floor tonight. A dominant offensive performance from the Huskies. Let's get into it. You're Locked on UConn.
You are Locked on UConn, your daily podcast on the UConn Huskies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for jumping on the live edition of Locked on UConn. UConn 86, USF 49. A dominant performance led by Paige Beckers today with 22 points on 9 of 10 from the floor, 2 of 3 from three rebounds and assist. Right there with her, Ashlyn Shade with 15 points, 2 rebounds. Sarah Strong, 13 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. It was a clinic by the Huskies. They shot 67% from the floor, 37.5% from three. Out-rebounded the Bulls 35-27. The communication, the ability to have chemistry already this early is really impressive. Janelle Alfie off the bench is essentially a cheat code. She didn't even play well. I know there was a couple times where Gino was kind of like pissed off at her and put in Ice Brady. I continue to ring the bell of Ice Brady being the woman who is going to be a key for this team in the front court, and she had a great game, 8 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Would love to see a little more rebounds, but guess what? Sarah Strong has transformed this team because Paige is Paige. She is fantastic. She is the type of player that is transformative for an offense. And what is interesting to me is the type of defense they play on Paige when someone like Sarah is sharing the floor with her. It's impossible to guard them both. So it's one of these things where it's pick your poison. And that's the beautiful thing about this. We still haven't seen a put together performance from Caitlin Chen. I thought she's been complimentary. I thought Ashlyn Shade was fantastic, 7 of 10 from the floor, hit 1 of 2 of her threes. It's Morgan. Okay, I put this in my notes because I was watching this game, and also, as you notice, I'm putting the score up here, dealing with kids today because it's a Sunday. And, if anyone is a parent, you totally understand where I'm coming from. But Morgan Shelley is the most underrated of all of the freshmen they brought in. Because let's be clear, Sarah Strong is the best player that they brought in outside of transfer portal freshman. She's the woman. She's the gal. But Morgan Shelley at 6'2" at guard has the positional size that Gino loves. She can hit threes. Her minutes are going to continue to skyrocket. This was a step up in competition, and UConn stepped up their game and dominated and won by almost 40 points again. Sarah's presence is incredible because they give her the type of respect that you would get from a veteran, if you will. And I think the issue that I have is I would love to see the ball in her hands a little more. Because I'd love to see what it would look like for her to run some offense through Sarah versus through Paige, and kind of see how that dynamic works for everybody else. I think Ashlyn would benefit. I think KK Arnold played a fantastic job tonight in limited minutes with 6 points on 3 of 6 shooting. She also had 4 rebounds. She's been all over the place in terms of her defense. Let's look at the steals they had because there's a ton of deflections tonight. Steals, Sarah had 2, Ice had 1, Ashlyn had 2, Paige had 2, KK had 1, Jenna Alfie had 1. This team defensively played fantastic, and it's really interesting to me about where this team is going to go once everybody else comes back from their health issues. Let's go to Jason here. Morgan is going to make us very happy. Let's go Huskies. I don't disagree at all, Jason. I think she's fantastic. When I did my first not reaction show, but I did my first recruiting show of the players that Gino brought in this year when we started doing 2 shows, men's and women's, and kind of separating them. One of the things I did is really talk through the players that he brought in. And every one of them is a complete player. Allie Zabal is not just a shooter. Morgan Shelley is not just a rebounder. She is a complete package. And it's really going to be about the time and the opportunity and who seizes it. And I think Morgan is really seizing that opportunity when she's getting these moments, these short minutes. Every time she goes in, she scores 6 points. It's kind of incredible. So I think Morgan is going to be a fantastic player. I think Allie's going to be a great shooter for us. And I think she's going to bring some more to the table. Sarah is the crown jewel of that class. But, man, as far as being underrated, Morgan is definitely that. Irvin, yeah, KK is coming off of, I think, a sprained ankle. She's fine. I think the part of it is just caution. This team is so deep, and it's music. It should be music to your ears that this team is really deep, that they get a little bit of grace from having 10 available players and then others that are coming back down the stretch. If anyone wants to join the show, I'm going to drop the link in the chat again. Please jump on. Give me your opinion. I would love to hear your thoughts. Another dominant performance. There's not much to say other than how good this team has been. And there it is. That's the link right there, but we're going to get you the one that you can kind of click on. And if you want to join the show, you do not have to join as a visual person. You can do the audio aspect of this and pretend like it's a radio show. Have no issue with that. I want this to feel like a Spaces on Twitter. I want this to feel like, there's a community aspect to it. It's not just about me talking. I want you guys to really dive in and join the show if you want to. Let's talk through this game flow. We're going to spend some time on this. Paige was fantastic. She had 22 points on 9 of 10 shooting. Gino is now 1 game shy of tying former Stanford women's basketball coach Tara Vanderveer for the college basketball record. Paige only played 20 minutes, essentially. So let's look at that. I think it was 22 total. Paige. 28. Sorry. Anything under 30 minutes for your starters and you win by 30 points or 40 points, we're feeling good. Paige, Ashlyn, Sarah, all played under 29 minutes. All were efficient. All did exactly what they were supposed to do. Then I think you look at the bench, Morgan Shelley with 15 good minutes, Janelle Elfie with 17 good minutes, Allie Zabal with 10 good minutes. KK, like for those who, like Irvin, who mentioned is KK coming off an injury, she is. She still played 23 minutes, the exact same amount as Ice Brady as a starter. So forget about who starts. It's about who finishes, their contributions to the team, and everything that goes with it. UConn is now 2-0. What's that video, Vanderveer, to you, Mark? I don't know what that means, but okay. I appreciate that. Old man Gino still finds a way to screw it up. What does that mean? Andrea, tell me. Like, am I missing something here? If I'm missing something, please fill me in, because I'm watching the game on SNY. I'm listening to Bob Joyce in my headphones so that I can be mobile around the house. So I don't know what Gino is doing to screw anything up, but please fill me in. This podcast is sponsored by FanDuel. Right now, if new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if they do a $5 initial bet, you get $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com to get started. Let's look at some of the plays that made sense today. I think one of my favorite plays of the night is the chemistry. There was a point in the second half where Sarah got a rebound. She kicked it to Ashlyn, who kicked it ahead to Ali Zabal, back out to Sarah for a three. It was just a beautiful exchange, and it also didn't involve Paige. I think anything right now that doesn't involve Paige is such a plus for this team, because if there's a time this year where Paige is not shooting well, which I don't think is going to happen, but everyone's human. You're not going to shoot 9 of 10 every game, and you need players. These are the moments. UConn D is playing really well. They shot 72% from the floor through 3 quarters. Bob Joyce talked about how it's 72.6% against St. John's in 2001 is the record for that for the UConn women. At that point, they were shooting 72.7%. Going into the fourth quarter, they ended up shooting 67% or 66.7% total. Not too shabby. You're going to win most of those games. The Bulls have not won anything against UConn in the last 34 attempts against the UConn Huskies. So it was a fantastic win for the Huskies today. I am looking forward to the road ahead, because right now the UConn women have a week where they can just relax. So it's Sunday. They'll probably travel down to Greensboro on Thursday, get a workout in, and they play Friday afternoon, evening against the North Carolina Tar Heels. I will be there, and I'm going to cover the game, and I'm very excited. What should we expect? I think we can expect a similar game to what South Carolina played against North Carolina State today, which is I think UConn is going to win the game against UNC. But I think there's going to be some resistance early, and I think UConn's depth, I think UConn's ability to get multiple offensive sets from various sources, whether we're talking about Ashlyn, whether we're talking about, even if you took Paige out of the equation, Paige is going to give you her 20 points, if not more. And if you need more from her, she's going to give it to you. But the idea is Sarah Strong is going to dominate that game. And if you don't think Sarah is excited about going back to North Carolina and playing in front of family and friends and against a school that probably recruited her and wanted her to come there, then I think you're a little crazy. I think there's an opportunity there for UConn to set a statement for who they are going forward. And I'm really excited about what that looks like. Some other notable conversations around this game. Let's see here. Obviously, Paige with 22 points. The win was number 12-15 for UConn women's basketball coach Gino Auriemma. That leaves him one shy of tying former Stanford women's basketball coach Tara Vanderveer's college basketball record. Beckers had 19 points at the half. Ice Brady had her first 4 points for the Huskies, and UConn really kind of dominated from the start because it was 9-0 run to start the game. Ashlyn Shade had 10 of UConn's 30 points in the third quarter. They never trailed in the game at all. Ashlyn finished with 15 points, Sarah with 13 points and 7 rebounds, as well as literally giving UConn numerous lanes for them to work offensively. South Florida had some difficulty scoring. They have a Missouri transfer, Mama DeBelli, had 8 of her 12 points in the first half. Pusis, a Florida State transfer in her third season at USF, had 7 of her 10 points in the opening half. But Auriemma picked up his 34th win against South Florida. The Bulls have never beaten the Huskies. We're sorry. Sorry for that, South Florida. I would be remiss if I didn't say something about the South Florida men's basketball coach that passed away. I think the sad thing is Ben Fletcher, who took over for Amir Abdur-Rahim, I wish him the best. I know that Bob Joyce mentioned this at the end of his broadcast, that the team and the South Florida community has been hit hard by that. All I'll say is we all go through this life as a very it's difficult. You know, life can be very difficult. And Amir Abdur-Rahim was a light in the college basketball world, and he was the ASUN Coach of the Year before he got to South Florida. It was a tragedy what happened on October 24th. And I'm sorry to anybody in the South Florida community who has been affected by his passing. Jose Fernandez does an amazing job at South Florida. He was a USA coach. He coached Janelle Elfie in this offseason. She mentioned that on the radio show about how he's a phenomenal coach and really kind of gets the best out of his players. They just didn't have the horses today in terms of the talent that UConn brings to the table. So I wish all of them the best of luck the rest of the year. And I am just 100% looking forward to UConn playing North Carolina in my backyard and going to see these games live, going to see Paige live, going to see Ice, Morgan Shelley, Ashlyn Shade, Janelle Elfie, the whole bit. So this is going to be a short live reaction show tonight. It's been a long day. Your boy is exhausted. I've done a million of these this weekend. I'm tired. And I hope they get a nice week off because I'm excited about talking about them all this week. But as always, this has been another episode of Locked On UConn. I'm your host, Mark Zanetto, asking you to stay locked in. Make sure that you guys, if you're in North Carolina and you're going to this game, hit me up. Make sure we meet up before the game, after the game, whatever you want to do. Would love to meet y'all. Really looking forward to this opportunity to see this team in my backyard and talk to you guys about all that is going to happen with the UConn women this season. Have a wonderful evening. Have a great Sunday. And all the best. Love y'all.